2, 1, go. And here we are. So, what a day. This is the culmination of our day of celebration for this amazing book launch for 1% More, the hidden force to creating extraordinary results in life and business. And thank you for those that have popped in and listened throughout the day. Thank you for being here. And for our two authors that we're showcasing right now, Stan Coles and Nicole Harvick. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for being here. So, Stan, your chapter is Your Style Creates Your Life. There's no way around it. Let's talk about that and what do you mean by that, and why did you choose to write that chapter for? And let's kind of hear the backstory with this.
Sure. Thank you. So, since I was a little girl, I have always loved clothes. And I never knew how much they meant until I started to get older. And I saw how much of an impact they made on my life, on my attitude, on my actions. And so I started to dress other people and watch how their lives were impacted by the change of their clothes. And it was so significant. It was crazy to see. And I don't think most people really pay attention. They pay attention to what they wear. They grew up with their mom dressing them, and then they continued to make a choice that fit into that box. But not a lot of people step outside that box and explore what it feels like to dress a different part. Right? We're all playing our part here. That's just what we do, right? This is a like a show we're all here for. And very rarely do people change their part. And so I wanted to write a chapter on this just to create awareness, right? To get people to think about what they're putting on and why. Why are they putting that on? What made them pick it out at the store, and what it changes in their life if they pick out something totally different. And I really wanted people to start to think about that and realize that, if their life is challenging or if their life is amazing, it can always be altered. It can become more amazing, or maybe it can become less challenging if you change what you put on, because then you change your attitude. And then that changes how the world is reflected back at you.
Very
So,
much. Well, I
yeah,
can't help but notice this beautiful, whatever you're wearing, this top that you're wearing is gorgeous.
oh, thank you. And my big butterfly shirt.
That's gorgeous. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And you know what we wear? I remember I was at an event and the speaker, she was talking about what you wear for your in your, what you wear and how it reflects on you. And she said, "Well, Becky, let's call you up here." And they did a transformation, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun, and it made you feel different, made me walk different. It just everything changed. Yeah.
Yes, it changes everything. And not everyone gets an opportunity to feel that. But if they did, they would continue, right? Because it continues to feel good. So,
Right, right. How
yeah.
beautiful. That's so cool. So, Nicole, let's switch over to you. Your chapter is What Are My Five Love Highlights?
Yes, and
What are they?
well, I'll tell you, I chose to write about love this time. In my past chapters I've written in other books, I tend to write about forgiveness because I write, speak, and teach about forgiveness. And forgiveness is actually what brought me to the idea of love. And what I never realized on my journey through divorce is that love, self-love is very, very important. And that was something that I didn't realize. Not only I didn't realize that I was capable of, but I didn't realize that it was a thing. And once you start understanding love and how to love yourself, it comes easier to love and or accept others. Anyway, that's what I found to be true for me. And so I started thinking about different truths of love, and there's so many different aspects of it. You know, there can be romantic love, or there can be love for a child, love for yourself, love for your spouse or parents, and they're all a little bit different. So that word encompasses a lot of people and a lot of things. But what for me, what I found is when I started realizing I could love myself, I kind of melded into this person of acceptance for others and less judgmental, because I realized I didn't want to be judged. And it just brought me to a place where I could look at someone and even if it wasn't anyone I knew or someone I didn't agree with, I could send them love, because we know a universal law is whatever you send out, it's going to come right back to
Right
you.
back to you.
Absolutely. And so I realized that if you can to talk about love and vibration, love vibrates at 500, a very high vibrational resonance, compared to like shame, which vibrates at 20. So
20, yes,
well,
yes.
you've got a lot in between that. And you feel different, you act different, you treat people differently. And to me, that was something that self-love changed my life. Forgiveness and self-love changed my life in a very, very, very good way.
That's beautiful. You know, when I first started on this journey, and actually how I got into publishing, is writing my own book. It was called The Woman I Love, and it was my own journey. I had grown up in a horribly abusive family. Father had molested all of us kids at very young ages, and it was just really quite a journey to figure me out, you know, for me to figure myself out. And the book that I wrote is called The Woman I Love. And it was talking about me, you know, because I had to learn to love myself before I could really expect anybody to be able to love me, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. And people don't realize that. And I've had people say, well, that's selfish. Well, why would that be selfish not to love yourself first, to encompass and understand that feeling or emotion or whatever you want to call it, and just have that and others expand around you with your love. And when you do show love to other people, they change. You can see their expressions change, their demeanor change, and you can really watch someone that can be angry go from anger to acceptance in no time with just your love and kindness towards them. And to me, as I'm sure as hard as your journey was, and mine was hard also, but to come to this place in life where I can give something so important as that to someone else, it really made it all worthwhile for me, Becky.
Yes, yeah, it does. And when you understand that journey and realize what a difference that makes, that self-love, in order to really give back to the world, we first have to love ourselves. You know, we first have to
Absolutely.
really, just really cherish and understand all of the things that are about us, the things that maybe we're not so proud of in the past, but and also moving forward and love ourselves in spite and despite of it
Right.
all, and also realize that that's how we love others. You know, yeah, they made
Exactly.
mistakes, so what? We still love them, right? You
You
know,
know,
it
and
just
right, because we all make mistakes. We're here to learn. Earth is a school for us, I believe. And I will tell my kids, we all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. What did you learn from it, and what will you do different? And I
yeah,
love the title of the book, The Woman I Love. That's amazing. I love
yeah, it
that.
was quite a journey. What's interesting is that since writing that, if I had to write it over again, it would be a totally different book because of how much
Really,
I've learned in the process. Yeah,
it's amazing.
how it helped me to grow in other ways.
Good.
So it's been quite a journey. So um, this incredible book, Stan, what made you decide that you wanted to take part in this series?
I saw Len's message and I really just wanted to contribute. I just felt like people need to hear something. People need to get a little more play in their life, a little more fun. And I wanted to be a part of that. And it gave me a platform to have a voice. And it's
Yeah,
so hard to find that right now. So that's why I wanted to contribute and share. and really just get a message out there to people. And I thought it was such a great opportunity. Like, what a great book, right? What a great idea to have all different people contribute on just how to be 1% better, right? And
Mhm.
how to give back.
Well, it's been fascinating because we have had or I've had the honor all day of interviewing, and not all of the authors, but almost all of the authors that are in the book. And we've done this since, all throughout every hour on the hour, all through the day. And it's been so much fun to see the different personalities, but the same message. And everybody's coming with a different perspective on it, but it's all the same words.
That's so fun. I bet.
Yeah, it's been really, really cool. How about for you, Nicole, when you got this invitation?
Well, I didn't have to think about it too long. And one of the reasons is my very first podcast was with Lynn, Fred, and Chris. And
Yes.
I was very nervous to do that because I'd never done it. It was fun. They are fun, and I like them.
And they make it fun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it made it, if I were looked at that today and, from then to now, there's a huge difference. But to have these three guys, sit with them and laugh, it was easy. I just liked them. And I knew that he knew enough people. I knew he would bring in good people. I knew he would have that draw because he's got that personality. And so I wanted to share in my book because I had faith in Lynn.
I appreciate that, Nicole. Thank you. And thank you, Stan, as well. Because I met Stan through Facebook. I was following what she was doing. I'm like, I need something like this to teach people how to dress well. I think that's a missing factor nowadays. That people don't dress like they used to.
Well, especially in this heat.
Especially in the heat as well. But I need some fashion sense for this book.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. So, Nicole, if you're encouraging somebody to pick up this book, what would you hope they walked away with?
I would hope they would walk away with knowledge in all these areas that we've written about. And I love the fact that he kept the chapters a little bit smaller because I think it's easier to read and I think it's easier to absorb than a very long chapter. So I really like that aspect of it. But I know in knowing Lynn and who he is, he brought in great people with great knowledge. And so there's not one person that couldn't pick up this book and learn from it. And I think many, many people will.
Oh, I agree. Yes. And what's your main takeaway, Stan, as far as what you would like to see somebody take away with this book?
I would love for them to absorb all the words and all the messages that everyone is sharing and really make them their own. Right. And find that message in themselves so that they can shift and grow and change their frequency and raise their vibration.
I love that.
Beautiful. Yeah. So the changing of vibration and their frequency, what does that mean to you?
I just with the with the shame and the love vibration, right? Everything is vibrating. That's what life is, right? The vibration of cells and the different frequencies that are available that we are living in. And I just think everything has a frequency, and the more you can raise yours, right, the more the world reflects that back at you. And so people that are struggling, I don't think people that are struggling, I've had a hard time in life with mental health. I've lived with bipolar since I was a young child. And life has been a struggle. And so I want people to know that there's ways to change, right? There's ways to change your life, and that raising your vibration is one of those ways that gives you access to new information, right? And makes life a little bit easier and a little bit better when you can find those nuggets, those pieces of information that allow you to change and allow you to see things with new eyes.
That is beautiful. That's a very refreshing way to look at it and to express it. I so appreciate that.
Thank
So,
you.
Nicole, you're going through, quite a bit of change in your life right now, just with the move and all the other
Mhm.
things what's on the forecast for you?
It's interesting. The reason I chose to move is it was really strange. I kind of looked around Arizona and I just knew that my time here had come to an end. I just felt I'd accomplished everything I could here and I needed to go someplace else. But I really feel, even though I'm creating a course on forgiveness that I'm working on, which I think could forgiveness is very misunderstood. They often feel that you're condoned in forgiving a person that has maybe harmed or hurt you, you're condoning what they did, and that's simply not it. It's about releasing it from yourself and getting rid of all those negative emotions. And I really see myself going more towards a spiritual path, not necessarily just forgiveness, but it has opened me up to look at things on a very, I'm going to say, a different level, because what I've come to realize is that when you do start raising your vibrations, it's very interesting. You start bringing people towards you that are like kind, and the
Yeah,
people that are
absolutely.
maybe not vibrating. I don't want to sound like I'm, out there vibrating, but they're no longer comfortable with you. And it's really just, you kind of separate paths, but with ease, with comfort, and no harsh words. And you have to learn to put ego aside. Ego will crush you every time. And I think that has helped in my vibration. And I think we're coming to a fork in the road here with things where people are going to have to understand that to create a new earth, or the times like these are going to call for us to step up our game. And I think vibration is very important. Manifestation is very important. And it really is right now. We are in the Great Awakening. People are starting, if they don't know a lot about it, we plant a seed and they start asking questions.
Beautiful.
And that's
And
what I want to do.
very well expressed, and that's beautiful. And I do feel like our world is changing so rapidly right now, and all of
Very
us are
quickly.
having to wake up and grow
Yes.
and pay attention, because and the very fact that we've all been in this book, and that we're willing to stand up and express ourselves and let our messages be heard, it's each one of us doing that that's going to create that change that
The
needs to be.
ripple. We are
Yep,
the
the ripple.
ripple.
Yep, right.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Nadine, we're so happy that you could join us, and um, kind of coming in on the tail end of this, but we wanted to have a conversation with you too. What's the name of your chapter?
My chapter is How I Learned Pure Fucking Magic.
Wow.
And you guys put asterisks in there. That's funny. I see how you are. No, that's okay. I understand with, social media and marketing and all that stuff. But it's all about how I first became interested in and started exploring the metaphysical. And I call it magic because I'm into science fiction and fantasy, which I explain in my chapter. And I really think that what we think of as magic, like Clark said, is simply technology that is sufficiently advanced. And if you Google the definition of technology, the word means applied knowledge. Like, we use it and we think of cars and computers and phones and things like that. But technology is really simply applied knowledge. So I've been exploring the metaphysical, the sociological, the psychological, the human potential aspects of life. And it's technology because I apply that knowledge and help my clients grow and change and literally transform their lives in such a way that it seems like magic to the outside observer. Of course, we in this field know that it actually is a bit of work.
And more than a bit of work.
Sometimes it's hard work. But I also teach some techniques and practices that ultimately make that hard work a lot easier.
Very good. And how did you get there? How did you start with figuring this out for yourself?
It was a journey. I mean, I first started really because I was a rebel against my uber religious family, and not against my family, but against the religion that they
Mm.
taught. You know, I love my family. My mom is like the sweetest person. Um, but against the religious dogma that I was being inculcated with as a child. And it really started, and I'm kind of going to give a little spoiler to my chapter. It really started in fourth grade when I was being prayed over in church school for wearing pink fingernail polish. And I was like, does God really care if I paint my nails? You know, like this just doesn't compute. Like, I don't think that that God's going to stop loving me, or that I have to repent and beg for forgiveness for changing the color of my fingernails. So that was kind of where it started. And I've always been a huge reader. I read pretty much every genre, but my favorites are fantasy first, which I started reading when I was like 8. I think I read the Chronicles of Narnia. And then I because of the way that they sort stuff in the libraries, for some reason they put fantasy and sci-fi in the same section. They're two wildly different genres. But because of that, I twigged onto sci-fi at age 10, and reading Robert Heinlein, he's still one of my top favorite authors. His sci-fi is mostly sociological sci-fi. Like the tech is there, you know, the ideas of different technology is there, but his concepts and his stories are more based in human interactions and how we might be different if XYZ, and a lot of metaphysical concepts. I first learned about multiple world solipsism. I think that's the way to say it. I feel like there's one more adjective, but I first learned about law of attraction, even though he didn't call it that. And that's a new term. I learned about the idea that reality is mutable. I learned about human potential through reading his work, and that really instilled in me a passion to learn more. And as I began to learn more, I implemented more in my own life slowly. It was bits and pieces at first. It wasn't like I'm going to set out and explore my full human potential. Like from the beginning, that wasn't what I was thinking. It was just fascinating ideas. And then that led me to different experiences and different experiments in my own life. And ultimately, many, many years later, it grew into such a desire to help other people by sharing what I'd learned, because I'd had really amazing results in my own life.
Beautiful.
And I want to make the world a better place. Okay.
And that's beautiful, because that's really why we're all here. And I think at the core of most of humanity, yes, there's those out there that don't live that way, but I think most of humanity just wants to make a difference and is good. It's just that we all hear about the ugly before we ever hear about the good.
Oh,
And
definitely. I mean, the mainstream media is so biased towards the negative that it has a horrible impact on our world, because people watch that and they think that's all there is. There are just as many, if not more, fabulous, wonderful things happening every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look at what's been happening this whole day, this beautiful book launch. Look at the goodness that has come, and the voices that are raising up and saying, hey, there's a different way to look at life, and there's more and more of us. I've done 4 of these type of books just this year alone, where there's compilation books. So that some of them one had 45 authors in it. That was a lot of people. And most of them are around 20, but you compound those voices that are raising up, because they're all the same. They're different aspects of it, but they're all the same in the books that are coming out, and the authors that I'm privileged to attract. So it's to me, it's just amazing, because the more of us that stand up and share the goodness of life, and that there's a better way to look at life, and that we do have the choice to make that 1%
Yes.
difference. That the more of us that do 1%, that compounds and compounds and compounds. And it is our responsibility to bring the change that this world needs. It's each one of us.
It is. I also think, and this is one of the things I teach, or one of the foundational ideas. People think, well, we want to make the world a better place, and it's such an overwhelming idea. Like, how do we do it? Should we get into politics? Should we donate to charity? Should we start a charity? And all of those things are great, but the quickest, easiest way to make the world a better place is to make your world a better place.
Yeah.
And when you have a good relationship with yourself and with others, when you're living up to your full potential, when you have a nice home environment, when you have a successful career or business, and you go out there in the world and you're radiating that peace and that joy and that self-love and self-acceptance and all those things, everybody that you interact with, even just passing on the street, you're creating a ripple. And that's how we ultimately make the world a better place, is by improving each of our individual lives and the lives of those around us to enough degrees that the world is going to have to change. But it starts here. It starts in your heart. It starts in my heart, and in our minds, and in our our actions, and all of those things. So that's why I love what I do, because I'm even if I'm just working with one person. Now I'm doing groups. I started doing groups a few years ago, but even when I was just working with one person, I'm like, I just made the world, whatever percent that is, less than 1%, because there's 7 billion people or whatever, but it's still an increment of a percent that I just made the world a better place.
Very cool. And it's so true. If you ever gone into a grocery store and just looked a person in the eye and smiled, and sometimes they look so surprised, like, what? Why would you be doing that? Or hold the door for a man as you're walking in, and to see the surprise that and the smile back that comes from that, because it just, those are the ways, the little things that you can do to make a difference. But it has to come from within.
I was just at I love going thrifting. So I was out treasure hunting the other day, and this little kid runs around into the aisle that I was in. And he's holding this like tank gun style water gun, and he goes pew pew pew. And I said, "Don't shoot me. I'm a good person. Hopefully, I planted a seed that may one day prevent a mass murderer." I mean, you don't know the ripple effect of what you do.
Sure.
Thank you, Nadine. So, Lynn, this is our last interview of the day, and I know there's a lot of interviews that have gone all day. So, what's your takeaway from being able to seeing the fruit of your labor, the hard work you've put into this? How are you feeling right now, and what's the takeaway as far as how it has affected you?
Sure, that's a great question, Becky. I'm quite overwhelmed and still in shock that I got to this point, and it's actually something physical to finally hold it. Oh, I have upside down. Finally, something physical to hold in my hand, because I know you and I went back and forth on a lot of different things, and I was also, with the time frame with my father passing, when I came back, I was still not 100% there to start writing and correcting what I originally started. And then I'm like, you know what? I have 20 plus people who I promise, I gave them my word. I have to do what I said I do in these books. And I talk about integrity and having your create and sticking to your word. And I have to get this done. And I worked week after week after week on each of the chapters I was creating and working on the design of the book and putting it all together. And, it's still going to take me a couple of days just to take a deep breath and relax and be like, holy crap, I'm an author. I actually wrote a book. I know I have these wonderful, wonderful individuals who believed in me, who took a chance and wanted the opportunity to share what they had through this through this book, and it's been beautiful. Everybody has been very supportive. So, ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your hard work, the information that you provided, the stories that you told about your lives and things. I mean, though you were vulnerable in a lot of your stories, and that's going to make a difference in somebody's life somewhere. Again, going back to that ripple effect, we talked about that through multiple of our interviews today, Becky, that ripple effect. And I write about that in the book, that I want this book to be a ripple effect. I don't know how it's going to affect somebody, but I want to affect them in a positive way. And I want the stories from our authors in this book that collaborated with me to make that same effect. And it just takes that one difference, that 1% more, to make that change in somebody that can take them from possibly, shooting up a school to, making their dreams come true. You don't know the impact. I'm a type of person that likes to hold the door for everybody, because that person might be having a bad day, but my one act of kindness could stop them from hurting themselves. I don't know the impact. The same
Right.
thing, it also works the opposite way too. You being mad yelling at the person because they messed up your fry order, that could be damaging to that person, and you don't know where they are. You never know what's going on in somebody else's shoes. So you always have to come from a way of kindness and good intent, and intentionally live your life that way.
Absolutely.
So the way I look at this book is and all the authors I serve has been this way, but I developed a course just because I wanted others to understand the true power behind what the work of bringing our voices to the world. And when you do any kind of work like this, whether it's a book or you're speaking, whatever, you become an advocate. So there's 4 main pillars. You become an advocate, you become a truth teller, you become a way shower, and you unite people. And when you think of it that way, it changes the whole ebb and flow and effect of what you're doing. Because when you realize, as putting this together and the work that went into it, but when you realize that now you have become an advocate, that now you are shining that light, you're uniting people, you've done a remarkable job doing all of this. And each one of us in our own way have shown up and really shined the light on what it means to live an extraordinary life. And doesn't mean that we don't have our stuff that we have to deal with, and that it's a continually everyday top of mind awareness to live our life fully. We still are doing that by these steps that we're doing. We're making a difference.
Yes.
Congratulations. You've done a remarkable job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you to all of you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So is there any closing thoughts anybody wants to share? Because I know we've lots of conversation here, and any closing thoughts before we end our interview today?
I really am
Yeah,
just
Becky, you interview great. So thank you for all the beautiful questions. I appreciate that.
Thank you. So appreciate that. It's something I love.
I'm grateful to be a part of this book. I've written, several of my own books, but it's always fun. And in this particular case, I didn't get to read anybody's stories. I guess I could have if I logged into the Trello, but I didn't read anybody else's stories until the end, and it was all put together. And I think I love how well you wove it and organized it. I feel like it's got a really good flow, and you picked out, or the stuff that Len wrote that tied it all together was really well put together.
He really went through a lot of the extra miles to do an extraordinary job,
Yeah, I wanted to give back more because I knew I delayed it. I knew it was beyond my control, but I still felt like I needed to go further for everybody at that point, because I'm like, I want to do more. I want to make this something super unique. And I believe I achieved it in the way that I did it. It's not like your typical co-author book where it's chapter. I weaved it into, a roadmap, a way through the pillars, and incorporate everybody. And I read everyone's chapter, and I specifically put certain people in certain chapters to really highlight those pillars about awareness, growth, action, and then impact. I wrote that myself. to just tie it all together again for everybody and to share our message both as a group and as individuals.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So well
thank
done.
you,
Good
Nadine.
job.
Great
Thank you, Nadine.
job.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
Thank you for the opportunity. This was outstanding. I'm really excited. I'm excited for the people that are going to read it and the
Yes.
change it will have in their life.
Perfect.
Very much.
Perfect. Thank
Very
you.
much. Well, thank you, ladies. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Lee, Lynn,
Mhm.
go celebrate.
I will. Thank you.
Take a day off. Woo!
Yeah. Go honor yourself for a job well done. You know, take the time to just relish in this. Don't think you have to keep pushing ahead. Just breathe and enjoy. And congratulate yourself that you have
Yes.
done remarkable work.
Great job. Go love yourself, Lynn. Yeah. Go hug yourself.
Maybe we could have an author get together party at some point so we could all meet each other in person. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking about an idea for that for everybody who's local, and if
That
anyone
would
wants
be
to fly
fun.
out too,
Yeah.
but do a little
Yeah.
get together.
I have
That'd
a
be
very
great.
nice place I'm willing to host.
We did
Perfect.
one of my other compilation books. We met at the Irish Cultural Center and we did a book signing, and it was so much fun. I was in that book, and we did amazing things. But there was like 300 people that showed up,
Wow.
and they went around. We all had all the authors sat around the outside perimeter, and each of us, everybody just came in and they went all around and met all the authors and had everybody sign their book. It was so much fun.
That
It was
sounds
just,
awesome.
it was really cool. Really cool. Yeah.
Well, we should
All
do
right.
both.
But celebrate.
Figure out something. Yeah. Thank you.
Alrighty. All right. Well, have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
You.